Hi, Peter. Great to have you in the podcast today. Shall we start with an introduction? Can you tell a bit about yourself and about IMAG or Organics to know more?
Sure. So thanks first and foremost, Jasper, for the opportunity to talk today. I'm looking forward to talking a bit about bakery, a little bit about myself. I've been in the ingredients industry for 30 plus years. I started out as a brewer, actually a production brewer, then left that to join the ingredients world, selling into the food and beverage industry. I ended up for 15 years working at Wild Flavors. It was acquired by ADM in 2013, 2012. I ran the UK business for them. I ran the Middle East business for them, and I ran the India business for them over the course of those years. I was also a product manager for sweetening systems and branded myself as Sweet Pete. So I'm actually reasonably good at sugar reduction in general. A little bit about IMAG. I went self-employed in 2015, and IMAG is one of my clients that I represent them for the European business. We have a team of 3 or 4 people. We import through Antwerp, and we're ready to sell into the European market with our own direct sales, but also with Want to Taste.
Sounds great. It's an interesting product. So how do you feel? So we're discussing also specifically the bakery industry, but also how people develop their winning protocol and what are important aspects in that. Can you tell us a bit your opinion, and then not talking about your latest experience, but we hope to tap into your entire history as well, if we may.
Okay, so I think whenever you're putting a new product together, there are 3 key parameters. People may say more, but I think 3. There's taste, texture, and appearance. And appearance in that includes the packaging, but also what the product looks like. And the most important for repeat business is taste. It is the one thing that brings people back. If it's a lifestyle purchase or a treat, it has to taste good as well, and the taste and texture are pretty similar. And we got some products from IMAG Organics that can help with both of those. The appearance is what makes people buy something the first time. So the prototype needs to look good. The packaging needs to be right, and the proposition needs to be right. But it's the taste and the texture that brings them back. And the IMAG Agave inulin and the IMAG Agave syrup can both be used well in the baking sector, which we'll talk about shortly.
Yeah. So is that if you look at the appearance, I think your observations are spot on. I think if you crack those 3, you have a great chance of having a successful product, right? But if I look at for example, the agave syrups, you have them in 5 different colors. Is that also why you decided to develop those?
It's quite an interesting question, Jasper, because we do offer 5 colors. Typically, we sell 2, and most of them most of the volume is actually the extra light because it gives additional flexibility in the end application, especially in beverage. You don't want to be adding color to the beverage, and agave syrup is typically used in as a retail product, like an alternative to honey, for at-home use. But in a B2B environment, it's largely used in beverages where you don't want to bring a color or a taste impact. The darker the color, the more the taste. It has a Maillard sort of reaction that goes on where you've got the carbohydrate and the protein that naturally creates color. That's what we do when we cook onions. It goes down dark brown and gives that sort of flavor, caramelized flavor. So the darker the color of the agave, the more the caramelly-like notes. It has some application in bakery and some as such on the retail shelf when it's purchased as a squeezy bottle. For at-home use, people quite like the dark one. But the extra light is the one that gives most flexibility.
Yeah, so that's interesting because I was looking at more from a color perspective, and you were looking more from a functionality perspective, right? Saying in functionality, the lighter has more end application purpose than the darker one, and also in taste it impacts.
But I think the darker one in bakery brings some benefits. But on the whole, I think if I could split the volumes, it'd be 90% we sold would be extra light or light, and about 10% would be of the darker variant.
Okay. And an important point as well. We saw in earlier conversations that health is an important factor. So reduction of calories. That's an important factor. Now that's pretty difficult sometimes in the bakery industry because if you want to replace sugar, it's a bulking agent. How do you vision that? What is your opinion on that?
Thank you, Jasper. Yeah, sugar reduction is key. We're all taking more calories than we actually expend with more sedentary lifestyles. So we need to look at our sugar intake and carbohydrate intake. The agave syrup is well suited to baking because it's 1.3. Some people say 1.4 times sweeter than sucrose, your typical beet sugar or cane sugar that is available. That means you can add less to get the similar sweetness delivery. And with it being a very similar calories per gram compared to sugar, the agave syrup is a mechanism by which you can reduce calories in your final product. However, if you reduce the sugar by 30%, say, you need to bulk it out again with something. And that's where the agave inulin comes in. And the agave inulin brings not just bulking, it brings a real functionality to a baked good. It has a fibre claim if you're adding enough to have a claim of additional fibre, or includes fibre. It is a prebiotic fibre. This is a prebiotic characteristic fibre. It also brings taste, texture in some baked products, a spongier cake, and in biscuits, a crisper bite. So we are really quite interested in using a combination of the syrup and the inulin in bakery formulations. We've done some application work ourselves in the kitchens over in Mexico, where we have some recipes we can sort of share with your customers that can really give them some guidance on how to implement the ingredients into their own end-use market product.
So it seems that the products of IMAG can contribute actually to the 3 points that you were mentioning. So it can contribute to taste, it can contribute to texture if you want to reduce the sugar content, and to appearance by choosing the right color for the right reason. It can help in appearance as well.
It can. There's one other thing that the inulin can do. It cannot replace all the fat, but it can be used to take some of the fat down if that is also of a significant interest to the brand owner. I think it should be, because consumers are looking at their total calories, not just sugar.
And I never figured that, and if you talk about fat reduction, can you put a percentage on that, or is it in specific applications that you see that?
I think we can get about 20 to 30% fat reduction using inulin. I would not like to say whether that's sugar and fat at the same time, or one is just fat. So I think the way that anything is that we can recommend some recipes, but always the application people at the brand owner, they would be the ones responsible for what's going onto the shelf. So they'd have to do their own kitchen work and trials and what have you. Hence the prototyping you talk about at the beginning, and we would encourage that to occur, because that's their responsibility. They're the best people who know their product formulation, and we would always try and support them technically to overcome any hurdles that they might find.
I am sure that this conversation will spark some interest in your products. I'm fascinated by it, and seeing the multiple ways that the product can help product developers, but can also help improve healthy products. is just tremendous. If I picture that back to what we see in on the One to Taste platform, and when we interact with our customers, we see that if you look at launching new products specifically, where we started off with, we see that they typically start pitching 2 items in the market, and then like an A/B testing, see, okay, which one is the most successful one. Obviously, that requires the flexibility in volume, and I believe that you guys are very much capable in supporting these companies in their smaller quantity up to the larger volume, obviously.
And I think just to summarize quickly, IMAG is available in Europe. We import through Antwerp. We have smaller packs available for trial purposes. So or even best to come to One to Taste and get the samples from there.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll be working on growing that. Peter, thank you very much for your time. It's been a great pleasure talking with you, and I'm sure we'll be in frequent contact.
Jasper, thanks for the opportunity once again, and we'll be in touch. And if there are customers that you have that need some technical support, then we'll be there for them.